Welcome to another week of Connect with Jonathan Mark. We have quite an amazing guest this week. It's Elizabeth Chambers. She's a very well-established TV personality. On her spare time, she has Bird Bakery, and she helps out so many different families from all over the world, different organizations. Wow, it's really amazing. There's so much to talk about, so let's jump in.
Hi, Jonathan.
Hi, nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you. I've heard wonderful things.
Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. I just want to ask you a few questions, if that's okay. Yeah, so I wanted to ask you about the Bird Bakery and everything about that, like how you managed to do that, TV and being a mom. That must be absolutely insane.
It's a lot. I think I managed to do it all with an amazing team, right? Like, I think people are the greatest asset. And when you find good ones, you don't let them go, and I feel so blessed and so fortunate to be exactly where I am now, exactly in this moment. Bird was something I've always wanted to do, and I knew I was going to do it. I just didn't know when. So I was in TV. I was working a lot. And then I had like 3 shows that were canceled all within 2 weeks. I was 27 and I was like, wow. Like, it was, I was going to work every day. I was showing up. I was doing my job, but one network went under, the other, like, we weren't renewed. And entertainment industry, like, you can't really control anything, as you know, as you'll soon find out. So I feel like I said, okay, well, I thought I was going to start my bakery when I was like in my 60s. Thank God I didn't, because it consists of like 9,000 all-nighters and I could never have handled that then. But yeah, so I opened my restaurant, which was like my first baby. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done. I have 2 amazing children and I parent so hard. I mom so hard. Yet my company is still harder. So, building this baby bird from nothing and creating, places where everyone comes and enjoys every day. Like, I think we have to take moments to really sit back and just say, like, good job to ourselves sometimes. Like, so I do. I am so grateful. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. I'm so grateful that everything happened. And I'm so grateful for our customers who come and enjoy every day, and my team that serves them, and just to have like a living, breathing place that exists where I'm serving our family recipes and, an homage and a legacy of my grandmother and my mom's recipes and mine. Like, food is truly, for me, the key to the soul and experience and hospitality. So I feel so grateful for Bird, and I feel so grateful for my career in television. I feel so grateful for my kids. And I don't know, I'm just in a real moment lately of gratitude. And, I don't feel like we're always in that space. Like, right, sometimes we lose sight of that. But I'm just really grateful for everything right now, for everybody who's made it happen, because nobody does anything on their own. It takes a damn village. It takes a lot of damn villages.
I was already close to all of that. Like, it's so funny you say that, because I have like cousins that have kids. I'm like their uncles. And I'm like, I feel like I'm like the fun uncle. Everyone, like, it really is like a whole separate, like, an intense thing. And, I wanted to touch on, like, food does bring everyone together. Like, I feel like when there's a good restaurant, people always want to go. And there's a good bakery, people always want to go. And it always brings people from different backgrounds or just anywhere together. So that must be so cool to see so many different people like come from all different backgrounds and just everything.
And we're a full service restaurant now, but we started as a bakery, and just like celebrating milestones with our customers, like we did their wedding cakes. Now we do we did their baby shower. Now we do all the birthday cakes. Like, it's like we're living life with these people. And I think that's what the correlation between journalism and bakery, like, people don't really make that connection as much, but like, it's stories, it's life, it's moments, it's milestones, it's like all of that, but it's through food. And it's through, chats and conversation and getting to know people. And that's like totally my passion. So I feel so grateful that I'm able to do both of my passions. Like, I studied marketing and journalism, and the fact that like I do both, like that was my majors, and business. And like the fact that I do both in every day in such a fun way, just like it feels like a pinch me moment. I know that's so cheesy, but it really does every day.
But it's so cool because you really get to do the 2 things that you're passionate about. And that's like the coolest thing. I always tell people, just like even my friends or just like anyone in general, it's kind of like when you do something that you love, like really love and you're passionate about, it really is like the best feeling,
For sure.
At least from my perspective, because it's, I'm sure, people just like I do too, like they go to work and they're not particularly thrilled with like whether it's a 9 to 5 or whatever job that they do. But the fact that you get to change people's lives, like honestly, because when people go to you for like a baby, shower cake or a wedding cake, you're going through those like intense milestones with people. And that's such like an emotional connection. Like I will always remember, like I just got engaged and the cake that we got, like I'll always remember where we got it from because it was a unique cake. It wasn't just like a regular cake. So it's like these milestones that people will always remember. It's really incredible.
Congratulations. Where did you get your cake?
We got it at Audrey's Bakery on Long Island. I'm from Long Island. So okay. I have to be honest, I went there because my grandmother's name was Audrey. So I was like, I feel like
I love that. Yes, that's the sign. I love that.
Yeah. So I kind of was like, she's definitely looking down, and all that. And I want to make her happy since she's not going to be with us. I want to do something in honor of her and stuff. Do you do like a bunch of like when people come in for like the big moments where they're like, I want to do this in honor of someone or like in honor?
Of course. Yes. And if they have a certain recipe that was not on our menu, if you wanted to do like your grandmother's cake recipe, like we could do that. I don't know. I just like, and that's all we have, right? Our story and our connections and like that 1,000,000%, like that is why we are in business and that's why we do what we do. And I love that.
So cool. And I think it's so cool. Like you just mentioned before that you do it or you have your grandmother's like recipes and you use it. I wish that I went back and I took some of my grandmother's recipes for like things. And I don't think I even thought of it when I was younger. I don't know. I always thought like when I was younger, I know it's going to sound also silly and maybe cheesy to people, but I thought people always lived forever. You know what I mean? Like I never viewed my grandparents not being there like later on in life, but yeah, it's so crazy. It's just, everything is just very crazy and
connected. Everything's so connected.
Everything is connected. And like, I always tell people, it's like when you least expect something like a sign or whatever you want to call it, like it always comes, just like the Audrey thing. Mm-hmm. We weren't even looking at that and that place just came up. It was like a new thing that like the wedding venue uses for like whatever. And I was like, I have to go there and I have to give them this. Like it's for my grandma. Like I have to do it. So
now you have to get your wedding cake from them.
I know.
And then your baby shower cake and then your gender reveal. You're an Audrey customer for life, no matter how good or bad that cake was. It was just meant to be.
I know, no matter if it's like the worst thing ever, like I'm sticking with it. Like,
yeah, you're in it to win it now. You're in it for the long run. You're a lifer.
Tunnel vision right there. Like I can't like move at all. But but I want to also ask you because I know that you always give back and do so much for like the communities and stuff. And what are you passionate about like helping out? Because I see you do give back like a lot to like a lot of different like organizations and stuff. So
I think that's our duty, right? Like we are not operating in a vacuum. It's about community. It's about by the way, like you could have an amazing product, you could have amazing marketing, amazing recipes, customer service. And guess what? If your community does not embrace you, like you have nothing. You have nothing. So we are nothing without our customers. And part of that is giving back to the community. And I think Blake Mykoski, who started Tom's a long time ago, I think it was like 20 years ago, I think he did a great job and really encouraging, empowering, and challenging businesses to have that responsibility. Like, you can't just, to whom much is given, much must be returned. Like that's just how it is. So I think the more success we have and the more we are embraced, like the more I just want to continue to build up the community that supports us. So yeah, and there are different causes. Like this month we're doing polycystic kidney, like, whatever it is, like whatever they need, whatever people need. Like I hope that I am in a position always to give back.
That is the coolest thing. Like always giving back to like different things, like the kidney thing or like St. Jude's or whoever, right? Like I think that's the best thing. And like I've been really trying to do that as well too, I think at this point, but I see you're doing it at such like a big scale. So that's why I was like, maybe I could learn a few things. I'm like, honestly, I'm always trying to learn, like with so many different things. It's just I think it's really awesome because like people need people, I think, like at certain times, like no matter where you are in life, great, bad, whatever, like people always like need people.
Well, I think you are giving back more than I mean, you are really like showing people, you're opening their mind and you're opening the way and you're showing them like something that they can't do for themselves, like people can eventually figure out a way to find money or whatever, but like you're actually giving a gift that that we are not able to give ourselves. So, and then, but also in that process, you have to protect your own energy because it is a gift. And I know, I'm sure you've already done this, but I'm just going to give you my mom speech because I'm a mom and you're not. Is that like, yes, you have this incredible gift and you do have a responsibility to give back, but also like you have to make sure that you are taking care of you. It's the oxygen mask theory. Like you put your oxygen mask on first before you help others. And it's easy to burn out. So don't burn out. Take care of yourself. Take care of your fiance. But like nobody can be taken care of if you're not. So,
well, it's actually interesting.
Something you should ask for.
No, I need it because like I'm kind of going on all cylinders at this point, right now, because like I'm doing like a bunch of different like, you know, readings and then this and then, you know, working with the law enforcement stuff. But I wanted to ask you, like, what do you do to decompress from like a hectic day? Because like I still need to learn. So any advice I could get even on that front too would be so grateful. So.
Yeah, no, but I think that's the thing. I have so many friends that are really spiritual, like guides, and I'm constantly reminding them, like, you are taking this on. So I am taking on very like logistical things, I feel. And obviously in stories, when a lot of times like I have a show coming out on Discovery ID that's very much you know, we're spending hours, 11 hours a day talking to victims and of a multitude of crimes, and basically like, but they're all matters of the heart, right? Like this is basically what it comes down to. And it's easy to take that on yourself, but I do feel like I've really mastered self-care. Like I really do. I love like I love a car sit. Like give me a snack and a car sit and a mindless scroll. I love boundaries. Boundary is my favorite word. And I think that that's so important when you are in a position, you know, where a lot is being asked of you. And you don't want to let people down, but you have to at some point. I always tell my staff, I said, I know you can do this 100%, but I would rather you do it 70% and not burn out. So delegation is key. Self-care is key. Balance is key. Like I love a night out, but guess what? I'll be like on it and on point the next morning. So like have fun. It's not like, what is the point of all of it if you're not having fun? So like, yeah, just like joy, all the joy, and taking those moments, because that's what it's all going to get done.
I think that's great because it can apply to so many different people too, with whatever field that they're in. But I wanted to touch upon your show on Discovery ID. Can you share some about that with us? Or
yeah, of course. I think you'll appreciate this, considering all the magic that you create. I went through a crazy divorce, and I, in the process, my biggest focus was just making sure that my kids were not only okay, but great, right? Like I think divorce in of itself is trauma. I mean, I don't think it is. And the last thing you ever want to inflict on your children is trauma. They didn't ask to come into this world. They didn't ask for parents that are splitting up. Like that's not anything that like I would ever wish upon anyone. So for a year and a half, I made it my life's work to do all the work, not only for myself, but for the kids. Like every single child psychiatrist, every single family separation therapist, literally from like the Bronx to Norway. Like that was my job. That was my 6 hours of Zooms, of reading, of podcasts. It was my obsession because I felt like I had one chance to do it right. Like, right? Like you're engaged. You have one chance to do your engagement right. You're like, and not to put pressure on ourselves, but like you want to do the best that you can, right? So, I learned so much in the process. I learned so much about patterns. I learned so much about childhood trauma. I learned so much about the work that we should do. And so it made me want to do this show. It made me want to do the show that is about toxic relationships that have ended tragically, and why, and really like dive into why people are attracted to certain dynamics. Why are you attracted to this person? Why do you keep creating this pattern over and over again, even though you've already served 2 years in jail for something you were set up for? Like all of those things. So our season 1 is beyond riveting. And obviously there are very big examples of a lot of small things that can happen, you know, but I hope everybody ends every episode with, am I in this relationship? Is my sister in this relationship? How could I never be in this relationship? and just looking at patterns. And like red flags is so overused, but like messages. And that's something that you can appreciate, of like small little signs that you need to pick up. And I know like there's like the red flag and the breadcrumbing and all the things that we have, read about on TikTok and stuff, but there's not really a show that shows like this is what happens when you really don't do the work and when you are in the same pattern that's not productive and, at the very worst case, toxic. So yeah, our show is amazing. I'm very excited. I hope people love true crime. I hope it's entertaining. I hope it's helpful in the end. Like that's all I really hope it's just helpful. If we can save a few lives, because obviously we went very extreme. That's just a macro version of what it can happen in a micro way in an unhealthy relationship. So I don't know. To have the happiest life, like you have to be in healthy relationships, whether it's a friendship, a work dynamic, a partner, like whatever it is. It's just having those healthy dynamics and relationships all around you. It's so great. I can't wait for you to see it.
I will tell you, like, just from my experience of stuff, which is probably not even like, who cares, right? But
I care.
Thank you. I work a lot with like the law enforcement, like I was saying before, and a lot of some of the cases that I've worked on has been from domestic things. And what I struggled with, just being 100% honest, is that people still make excuses for their other partner, whether it's male, female, whoever. And when I'm working with these detectives and, with the families and stuff, and I'm giving them information, but because I don't know what it is, but they're so kind of like tunnel visioned that I could tell them like, it looks like he did this to you, or she did this or this, and there's proof. And they'll be like, that never happened. They'll be like,
right?
No way. And I think whether it's a male or female, I don't know. It's been a humbling experience working on those cases, just because like I'm sitting there, I'm like, sometimes I just want to shake these people and just being like, hello, like look what just happened. Like this person's not here anymore because of something that happened. But
it's textbook though. Your experience is very on point. Yes. For some reason they feel I totally interrupted you.
Oh no, it's okay. But I don't know. It like kind of shook me a little bit at times, because I was just like, it's like pretty clear as day, like certain things that happen, but they need additional information about things, and they will make it very difficult for anyone to take a step further in a situation or a case, because they're still protecting this person's like image or whatever it is, like, and they're not physically like here like it's kind of crazy. And I just want people to know, just like on a big scale, like this happens everywhere. There's been times that in my family that this has happened, and it took someone in my family some time to really pull away. Like it didn't just happen. Like it was like a long time. So I think it's amazing what you're doing with this show, and I think it will help so many people feel comfortable, for one, to take a step aside, but also two, to realize like 1 + 1 is not equal 2 right now. Like this, and I'm sure you witness this firsthand too. Like when you're talking to someone about that, they're probably like, that never happened, or like, no, but it wasn't like that. It was like, I did it. I started it. I'm the one who did it. And when they would say that to me, I'm just like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
I guess maybe because, and maybe you can like shed some light on this, just because I don't know like fully, since you have the show and, you're, seem really like expert in this and stuff, but it just seems to me like they want to protect someone when they did something pretty bad to them. And I don't understand sometimes maybe why, maybe because they're scared. And that's what I saw. I saw scared and brainwashed. I saw two things. I saw that. I saw like the brainwashing and people being like frightened and stuff. But did you experience any of that?
Sure. No, 100%. I think like, well, for example, it takes 7 to 9 cases of domestic violence for somebody to actually report it. And that's physical. I think what really is what we're diving into is there are so many types of abuse. There's financial abuse. There is emotional abuse. There is reproductive abuse. I know of cases where people are putting bovine the opposite of birth control, bovine hormones in their wife's coffee or their partner's coffee to make sure that they're pregnant and then sedating them. Like the multitude of abuse that can exist in a relationship and in any dynamic, right? Like everything's a relationship it's endless. And I think that's, when a victim is making an excuse for a perpetrator, it's not only physical. I mean, they have now it doesn't even take years. That's mental, emotional, so many different types of abuse. And I think that is what is so important for us to shed light on, is the fact that it doesn't come a la carte. It really comes like it's all part and parcel, and recognizing those warning signs for loved ones. But the fact that it takes 7 to 9 physically domestic incidents for somebody to actually report, I mean, that's just too far, and it's so indicative of something deeper.
Oh my God. And you know what I want to like touch on too a little bit, because you said this so perfectly, at least, when I do readings and stuff and I see abuse, I always tell people that it's not as cookie cut as we see on TV, right? Like you see on TV stuff. And I tell them that sometimes, it doesn't have to be physical for it to be abuse. A bruise will go away, but a mental abuse and emotional abuse sticks with you for a lifetime, where you can suppress it for 20, 30 years. And then something so small can trigger something, and it, shows its ugly face, and then it's like a trigger for people. So when I deal with that stuff, and it's interesting because some of the cases that I've seen are mostly, I mean, yes, there's physical, but there's a lot of mental abuse where like someone will encourage someone to do something horrible. And it's insane to me because like people get brainwashed. Like I don't even know how to explain. I've also seen that like when it comes to these like large situations and stuff, like I come from a nice family and stuff, but as I started doing this stuff with like the medium stuff, I was learning things about my family that I was like, wait, what? Like, you know what I mean? Like I viewed this person a certain way, and then I, saw stuff and I was like, wait, what? And then it explained how someone in my family was still today. Like, because I thought that they came from like just based on in my own family. And, I think people sometimes need to like peel back, like, they always say like peel back like the onions and whatever. I think sometimes people have a very good poker face and they can walk around smiling and, whatever they do, but then something, you peel back that one layer and you're like, how are you still smiling?
Well, that's the beauty of our generation. And that's the beauty of the conversations we're having now. And that's the beauty of this show, is that sunshine is the best disinfectant. And every family has its skeletons and every family has its history. And our parents and our grandparents love to brush that under the rug. And now we're empowered actually by having these conversations and realizing that like legitimately nothing is perfect. And even if you think it is, perfect is boring. Like, show me the mess. And I love that. And I love the only way that we're actually going to have real conversations and real healing is by being super open and honest. But it's not their fault. There's a book I love so much. It's by Rabbi Stephen Leader. And he wrote a book called The Beauty of What Remains. And he said, we always think of building the next generation as creating, like we're creating, right? He's like, no, you're taking away what doesn't serve you. It's a block of marble to build the statue, but you're not building the statue. You're removing what doesn't serve you for the statue. And I love that so much because we are in such a place, social media has its negatives and it's whatever. But at the end of the day, it's a conversation, and it's a conversation where everyone feels open and willing to talk about their trauma. And again, it's no fault of their own that our parents and our grandparents, they were just taught that. But I do believe sunshine is the best disinfectant. And I do believe this is a new era and a new chapter of healing because the conversation is happening.
I agree with that. And I also thing too in this generation, like, yes, like social media has its pros and cons, like just like everything has pros and cons. But like even with this generation of being more like self-aware, like emotionally about things, because my grandfather, bless his soul and stuff, he was a very tough man. And no matter what kind of happened, he would never speak about it. Like he just wouldn't address like a situation. And kind of what you said, he would brush it under the rug or whatever. But like I always use this like term with like he said this to me when I was a kid. Anytime I got hurt, throw dirt on it. Like don't talk about it, throw dirt on it. Like and unless it's broken, don't go see like like he was just saying always throw dirt on it. Just always get it dirtier,
That is so telling and so terrifying, right? But that's what we know. We only know what we know.
Right. And like this will probably get cut too, but like when I was younger, like I broke like this bone here. And I didn't tell anyone because I didn't want people like in my family to like, throw dirt on it and stuff, right?
Right.
And then as I got older, when it would rain and stuff, like with like I would lay on my stomach and I couldn't move. Like I was like kind of crippled. And I went to the doctor and they did like an X-ray and my bone healed like kind of like this. Because and he said, he goes, do you know like this bone's been broken for like so long that the bone healed itself and wrapped it like this. So he's like, there's bone on this. And he's like, the only way to fix this is like surgery, like intense surgery. And I was like, why would my grandfather put this in my, like, I'm so mad because like now I have to live with this because I'm like, it was just ingrained in me kind of to not complain kind of like, and like, that's why I think being a medium too is like so different from my family's because it's like, now I'm doing like the emotional side of like connecting with people, like, and everything. But I was raised like very differently. Like, I was raised like I had a loving mother and I have a loving father. I have both parents that are the best. But I was raised, like a certain way. And I'm just thankful that this gift kind of opened up, I think different like things in me, like emotionally and stuff. I think I became a little bit more emotionally intelligent when it came to certain like things like than I probably was when I was younger. And like, that's why I'm saying like this generation is now like kids that are like 16 or whatever, like the medium stuff or spirituality, like it's grown to a place where people are way more receptive than like our grandparents' age. Like, my grandpa would be rolling in his grave right now, like, just one of those. So, but
you'd probably be really proud of you. But I mean, that first of all, I can't imagine the physical pain that you were living with. Also, that's a euphemism for so much emotional pain that they were, right? That's all they knew. And yes, I mean, I think we're in a really magical space in terms of this. Of course, there's good with the bad, or bad with the good, but I think we're in such a magical space. And I think you are in such a relatable way. Like you're a medium that is very in touch with the younger generations and they're receptive to it. So not to put more on you, but like you are this is a moment and this is a gift and this is exactly, it's a gift, but I just think the timing is also something that cannot be understated.
No, and I agree. And thank you for saying that. It was really so nice. And I don't know how to take compliments too, because of my like, upbringing and stuff.
Throw dirt on it.
Yeah, I'll just throw some dirt on it or whatever. But it's interesting too, because like with the whole working just in general with this, like people are way more receptive and open than people don't even know this, but I read 50% men and 50% women. Like it's, yeah, because a lot of people are a little shocked by that when they ask me, because it is true. It's predominantly more of like a female thing, but I think as time went on and stuff, it's 50-50 now for me. And there are people that work at NASA, like scientists that come to like, it's crazy, like athletes, everyone, like people that if you look at them, you'd be like, there's no way this person will go to a medium or a spirituality stuff. And that's why I think this time, really is special for like everyone to really connect, just in different ways, and that's why I'm very thankful that I'm able to do this. But you are right. It's a big responsibility. And I don't take that lightly, like at all, because I want to be able to help so many people respectfully too. Because I don't want to like shove it down people's throats too. Like I don't want to be that person. So I'm trying to do it like not being annoying or anything.
Of course. So it's finding that happy medium, no pun intended. But like median, is it medium? I'm just making it medium now. But that is that your timing is right. And I also do believe there are no accidents, and I'm sure you believe the same. There's no such thing as an accident. There's no such thing as a coincidence. But like the world, I think is ready for this. Especially, I hate bringing up COVID in interviews because it's like such a downer. But like post COVID, like people really are reinventing themselves or refining themselves, and that was a moment of reflection. It was a moment of darkness, a moment of reflection, and now people want light and answers. So I think this is exactly your time to shine. I don't think you need to shove anything down anyone's throat.
It's actually interesting you bring up COVID, because I have these personal conversations with like my family and stuff. But I think COVID changed everyone's mind when it comes to spirituality, because it was such a darkened time for everyone could relate to this. Like everyone was affected by it somehow, whether it was, they lost someone or they were just in their house, like stuck.
Right.
But
right.
Honestly, I'm just shocked with the change. Like I really am, because everybody I don't want to say everyone, but majority of people have kind of, they want hope, they want faith. Like it's something that we all need right now. Just like I need it too, like I'm no different from anyone, like I want that hope. I want that faith. Like I want, to see that light and stuff. I want to spread it for everyone too. So.
Yeah, that's the best. But you really are. And I think like, as long as we're doing that while taking care of ourselves and having boundaries and perspective, then we're like, you are doing it. You are.
Thank you.
But you have to preserve yourself. Okay. That's my last mom shot.
I appreciate and I need it, but I would love to give you a reading.
I would love that so much.
I'm sorry for talking. I think I could talk to you.
No, and I'm like I love Jesus and I love God so much. So like I was like, said a prayer before, because I do love a reading and I am very specific. There were only 2 other people that I ever have done readings with. And I always pray. I'm like, please guide his heart, guide his mind, like show me what I need to know. Because I do believe that like extreme faith in God, and like I think it's very simultaneous. I think it goes hand in hand. And I know some people disagree with that, but I said like a big prayer on my knees before this for guidance and for openness. And I'm so grateful for this opportunity. So thank you.
You have someone with an MA name, whether it's Mary, Maureen, Margaret. When someone taps out and they flicker their brain at me, I know brain issues come in many different facets, whether it's like MS, Alzheimer's, or Parkinson's, or something that's like neurological that stems from the brain. So I know someone with this unique name, and I know. Do you know someone named Guy?
Yeah, my uncle.
Because I have a very close family friend named Guy, and you're probably the second, literally the other person that I don't know anyone with the name Guy. I could literally show you on my phone. I just called him like last week. He's a family friend of mine. But the person who's coming through keeps relaying something about, wait, so you have the bakery, but the person who's coming through, I think I'm assuming this is your grandmother who's coming through, if I'm being honest. But she seems very well established in the or I don't know if it's in the baking community, but in the restaurant community or like some type of food industry, whether it's restaurant, baking, or something. Also, too, she keeps putting like around the globe. So I don't know if she's a very well-traveled person before she passed away, but she seems very well-traveled. She's also, this isn't family to you who's coming through, because they're not signifying blood, but there's someone named Mike that's coming through. I'm just going to push that person aside if that's okay. Just because it doesn't seem like it's blood to you. So I want to stick with people that are actually like family to you, if that's okay. You can tell me to go back if you want. I'm just assuming that you don't want, because they're not blood to you. So you must have been pretty young when she passed away, or you must have been like a young adult. She seems like a very tough woman too, if I'm being honest, like a sweet but tough woman. And it's interesting you bring up the faith and the religion stuff, because she keeps talking to me about the religious side of things, like being, I'm not saying she was a nun or anything like that or whatever, but yeah, who had like the Alzheimer's, the Parkinson's, the dementia, something with the brain stemming issue?
She had Parkinson's. My grandmother had Parkinson's. That's so crazy. That is wild.
So also too, I wanted to ask you this because she keeps relating this. Were you in college when she passed away, or like end of high school, like around that time when you're like,
I was in college, and I'm like, is this on the internet anywhere? I'm like spiraling because I've never said that out loud. Yeah, I was in college.
it just seems like you were just like young adult. So I didn't know if you like end of high school, or early college, or
Yeah, I was like sophomore in college.
so. Why does she keep bringing up this person, Guy, like before she passed away? There's something with this person.
I mean, it's her only son, so it's my mom's brother, and he kind of like, she was, you're a mama's boy, he was a mama's boy.
Okay. Did she live with him?
She did.
Okay.
Whoa, she did. Damn.
Well, she's putting a roof over his head and her head, which just I would assume that they lived together at some point. Not like when he was young, when we were like.
No, like they had a company together and they lived together towards the end of her life. That's so wild.
She keeps saying how fast things progressed is what she keeps showing to me, and because the thing that's confusing to me, she is a strong woman. She's come with like very like it doesn't seem like she would throw in any type of like towel or quit or anything. But she's saying it became very she keeps using this term, like this phrase, or she's just showing this to me. She's putting in my head. Me grabbing a Gatorade bottle or a drink became very difficult, like simple task, because what she keeps talking to me about is, I guess, your uncle Guy, really taking care of her, because she keeps talking about the full circle type of moment of like how she raised, them, and then he had to take care of her like in the most intimate type of ways. What she's telling to me, she keeps tapping herself and saying it was like a hard adjustment to kind of like have a child, like her child. So, really do very intimate things to help her, like the intimate things that we take for granted, I think at times. What she's also saying too is you should know how much she loves you. I just want to throw that out there because she's smiling from ear. I mean, like, you don't even need me to tell you this. But what she's talking to me about too is like how much you learned about her after her passing, and she's laughing about it because she's saying it was shortly after her passing you started to learn like the nitty gritty, like personal stuff about her, like and what made her her is what she's saying. And I have to be honest, she has a very interesting life. It's not like a life that like I think I lived at all. It's a very interesting life, and she's also, because she's saying this to me as like a joke, like I need to experience more is what she keeps saying to me. I stay in my little bubble at times and stuff. It's kind of like if you go to like a foreign country, right? And it's like a country like that, I don't think people would go on for like vacation normally, I would assume. Because what she's sharing with me is that she's experienced different, like very unique cultures is what she keeps showing to that.
She grew up in India. Her father, or her uncle, I believe, or a father or uncle was Gandhi's physician. So she grew up in India.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Was Gandhi's physician? Wait, I'm like, sorry, I have to get back.
I don't know. I always heard it was her father, but then my cousin said it was her uncle. So I would love to know. Like,
it was her uncle, it seems. Like, it seems like it was her uncle. And I'm sure maybe her father knew who Gandhi was, obviously.
All around with Gandhi, I believe.
Well, she's just saying that she experienced very different cultures, and she was like pressing me to like really do that because I don't do that. So,
can you ask about her husband?
What, like, about?
Just if there's anything she wants to share.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't know if there's like anything specific.
No, just like because he passed away before I was born.
Yeah, he seems like he's been there, unfortunately, for quite some time. He's also someone that had like a crazy life too. Your grandparents had crazy lives, like, but his passing, from at least from what I'm seeing, and all death is tragic from my perspective, but his seems like pretty and like fast paced is what I don't want to like get in. I don't know if you want me to get into it. That's why.
No, get into it, please.
I'm assuming you know how he passed if I was to talk about it. Okay.
Yeah, it's the only thing I've never talked about in the press. That's why I was asking you.
It's what I'll just tell you what he's showing to me about his passing is that, because he keeps saying it's like it was someone who's on top of like health. It seems like he was like, he knew about like health. Obviously, if you're asking about if he was a physician for Gandhi and stuff. But why does he keep saying it was a very, he's pointing like someone else had something to do with something is what I'm trying. I don't know how you want me to say it.
No, I don't know. Her husband, I don't really, like, nobody really talks about it. But I think he like maybe ended my grandmother's husband maybe ended his own life. but I don't know like if anyone ever really talks about it.
Well, that's why I was trying to figure out how to say it without, because that's like, that's why I was trying to say, like, it's very intense. And I always try to be careful with that.
No, of course.
I mean, there's a lot of it because what he's bringing up is, I'm not saying there was anyone influencing him to do anything. That's not what I'm saying. But what he is bringing up to me is that in a time that was chaotic, it's like all eyes on you. And it was a very hard time just in general is what he keeps talking about. But he's also saying, and it's interesting because he keeps using the term like, you like what our conversation was about is what he's relaying it to. It's like speaking about emotion and not holding things back. Kind of what he's like. That's how I knew it was something like mental health related. If he's saying like speaking about emotion and stuff, that's why I was like paused and I was like, I don't know if you want me to say this.
No, of course. I wouldn't hear everything. I think I heard he was like mismedicated for a thyroid condition they gave, but I don't know. I mean, listen, I open book. I just want to hear everything you're receiving.
Well, like that's why I said it's like his death is due from someone else. But there is mental health things as like from it is because it seems like it was all eyes on him, and that's why he also, and like I kind of mentioned to you before, it's like the physician side of things. Like you should know, like when someone knows about the doctor stuff and the medical stuff, it's, you know, it's just like if I messed up with the medium stuff or whatever, it's like I should have known, kind of.
Yeah.
But like that's, you know, kind of what he was. That's why I was trying to tiptoe with things because that's very intimate stuff that I don't know if he wanted out in public. So
no,
be very careful and respectful.
I appreciate it.
So
are they together? Like, can you see if
they're side by side? But the reason why your grandma probably comes through more is because you had more of a relationship with her. Like that's typically what happens. It's like the people that you have the most relationship with or like a longer relationship will come through just so you can validate more things. Because if you don't know someone, it's hard to validate. Like people can say things, so that's why. I try to go towards that, but yeah, you had someone also named Mike too come through, so that's why.
No, she was my best friend. My grandmother, she was the one I definitely thought would come through.
Well, she's just the one you had the most relationship from what I could tell that was coming through, unless there was someone else, but from my perspective of who was coming through was that. So
that's crazy. Thank you. That is wild. I love that. I always feel like she's with me, and now I know for sure.
Oh, definitely. She's definitely, I mean, she's with your family and everything too, so.
It was amazing. You're amazing. Wow. Damn, Jonathan. That was impressive.
What an amazing episode this was. Guys, all these topics are really important, and I'm so happy to have a platform to be able to share, you know, everyone's different experiences, everyone's different backgrounds, different stories. You know, we all have something very important to say. And with that being said, guys, you know, I would really appreciate if each and every one of you would go to the Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, and please rate and review it. It helps out so much. But guys, thank you so much for listening. It means the world to me. I'll see you next week.